Okay, welcome back to it. It's Maths Masterclass with Leo. If you are new to my channel or if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Okay, if you want to see more videos like this one. Okay, now today I've prepared a question from one of my study guides. Okay, now we are given this statement. They say the sketch represents the graph of a parabola given by f of x is equals to 2 minus x squared. Points A, B, and C are intercept on the axis, and D, it is the turning point of the graph. If you remember very well, or if you've watched the previous video, you'd know that the value D represents the y-intercept, right? D represents the y-intercept, and remember the y-intercept, if you have an equation like this, ax squared plus bx plus c, this, it is your y-intercept, right? This is your y-intercept. And then A and C, they represent your x-intercepts, right? But before we can answer these questions, before we can go to the questions, you'd know, oh, I have the equation f of x is equals to 2 minus x squared, right? I have to rewrite it in this order. I have to rewrite it in this order. Then I'm going to have minus x squared minus x plus 2, right? This is how my graph will look like, right? Now, oh, this, remember they said my y-intercept, it is represented by the constant. This is your constant. What does that mean? It simply tells me, oh, the value of b, the coordinates of b is 0 is to 2. That is my y-intercept, right? Before we can even answer the question, we already answered, or we already got the coordinates of b, right? Okay, now let's go to the question. The question says determine the coordinates of A, B, and C. But you already got the coordinates of B, right? Coordinates of B, because B, it is the y-intercept of our graph. Then you can just write them and say these are the coordinates, right? Now let's move to the next one. They say the coordinates of A, B, and C. How can you calculate the coordinates of A? We know that x-intercept, these are the x-intercepts. This is the x-intercept, and this is also the x-intercept, right? Remember, when you talk about x-intercept, that will automatically tell you, oh, the value of y is 0 here, right? Because it touches the x-axis, right? The value of y is 0. Then what am I going to have? I'm just going to have, oh, but I know that f of x, it's similar to y. Then y in this case is 0. Then now from here I can just say negative x squared, negative x plus 2, right? This, because I had y here, I can substitute y by 0, right? And then, okay, let me just remove this negative from my value of a, divided by negative 1, divided by negative 1, negative 1. What you do on your left hand side, you must also do on your right hand side, right? Then I'm going to have x squared plus x minus 2. This will give me 0. Then factorize this. What are the factors? X should be positive 2 minus 1, right? This is equals to 0. Then x is equals to negative 2. X is equals to 1, right? Okay. Now, if I have these coordinates, remember, I said the value of y is 0. So it means I'm going to have coordinates negative 2 is to 0 and coordinates 1 is to 0. But now, which one is which one? Which one represents A? Which one represents B? I mean, which one represents C? Because we already have the coordinates of B. Which one from these coordinates represents A? Which one represents C? Let's go back to our graph. Remember, from our graph, if you can check, the value of A, it's in the negative sides. The value of A, it's in the negative sides. The value of C is in the positive side of X. So, oh, this is A. This is C. Right? Okay. Let's move to the next question. the next question, we are required to calculate the coordinates of D. What is D? D, it is the turning point of the graph. D, it is the turning point of the graph, right? Now, there. Remember what I said from the basics, when we were talking about basics, whenever you have an equation y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, you can just use this equation x is equal to minus b divided by 2a to calculate what? The turning point, TP, the turning point, right? Okay, now remember my equation. My equation says y is equal to negative x squared negative x plus 2, right? That is my equation. Then I can just use this and say x is equal to, what is the value of b? This is b. b is negative into negative 1 all over 2 into negative 1. This will just give me negative half. This is the x coordinate of the turning point, right? This is the x coordinate of the turning point. When I want the y coordinate of the turning point, I'll simply take this x coordinate of the turning point, substitute it in my original equation to get the y coordinate of the turning point. What I'm trying to say, I'm just going to say y is equal to negative into negative half squared minus into negative half plus 2, right? And then just check what is the solution. Negative into negative half squared minus into minus half plus 2. Then I have 2.25. This is the y coordinate of the turning point. Then the coordinates of the turning point means the coordinates of D, I'm going to have half is 2.25. You can just write it as 9/4 if you like, right? But now let's check, are my coordinates correct? Are my coordinates correct? How do I check that? It means I need to get a negative coordinate of D when I check my graph. Oh, if you can check, there is my D. It lies in the negative x-axis, right? It lies in the negative x-axis. I got 2.25, which is positive. There. It lies in the positive y-axis. It lies in the positive y-axis. It means my coordinates are correct. It simply means my coordinates are correct. Okay, the next question says write down the equation of the axis of symmetry of f of x minus 5, right? We need the equation of the axis of symmetry. Where do we find our axis of symmetry? Where? Here. This is our axis of symmetry. What is the x value of this? The x value of this is minus half, right? The x value of that is minus half, right? Okay, now they say where we need to write that where x minus 5, right? We can just say, oh, but x minus 5 equals to 0, then x is equals to 5, right? And then add this 5 with the axis of symmetry that we got. Originally, we had negative half. We add this negative half, we add it with 5, you're gonna get x, right? Now, this is gonna give us, let me just check, it's minus 1/2 plus 5. Minus 1/2 plus 5, we're gonna get 9/2 over 2. This is your x. This is your axis of symmetry, right? This is how you're gonna calculate the axis of symmetry. In all the cases, this is how you calculate the axis of symmetry. Now let's move to the next question. They say determine the values of x for which negative f of x is greater or equal to 0, right? We need the values of x for which negative f of x is greater or equal to 0. If you can check, when we come back to our graph, this is where our graph is greater or equal to 0, right? This is the first point, where from this point going that way, x, right? This is where our x is greater, right? It's greater than 0. I mean, it's equal to 0 here, because this is where we find the graph. This is where we find our graph being equal to 0 at this point and at this point, right? At this point going that way, and at this point going that way. This point, remember, it was 1, right? This is our answer. Where do we find it? We find it at x less than equal to -2 and at x greater or equal to 1. Those are our solution. Okay, let's go to the next question, and then we're gonna move to the next function, which is the hyperbolic function. Okay, yeah, here's the question. This is the last question that we're gonna do, and then we're gonna move to the the exponential and the hyperbolic function. Now they say the sketch represents the graph of the parabola given by f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, and the straight line defined by gx is equal to mx plus c. Points a, b, c, and d are the intercept on the axis. E is the point of intersection of the two graphs. And then the first question, write down the coordinates of point D if D is the image of B after B has been translated 2 units to the right. Translated means shifted 2 units to the right. The shifting of the graph 2 units to the right, if you have, okay, these are the coordinates of B. They say D is the image of this after this has been shifted 2 units to the right, going that side. To the right, you always add, right? So now we have 3. They said it's shifted 2 units to the right. We're going to add 3 and add 2, which is still equals to is to 0. Why? Because the shifting only affected the horizontal shift. Horizontal shift, what are we talking about? We're talking about the x movement. It only affected the x movement. The y movement was not affected, hence we still have y as 0, right? Because here it clearly states, write down the coordinates or the coordinate of D if D is the image of B after B has been translated or shifted 2 units to the right, right? So this will be our solution, 5:0, right? Okay, now let's move to the next question. Okay, our next question, it says determine the equation of G. Determine the equation of G. How can we determine the equation of G? We can either use this y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, right? So that we can use, because remember G is a straight line, right? G is a straight line. So now I need, what is y2? Okay, I have coordinates C is 0:3, and I have coordinates D is 5:0. These are the coordinates of D, right? Now I'm gonna say, okay, 3 minus 0 divided by 0 minus 5, right? This will give me -3/5 as my gradient, right? -3/5 as my gradient. Now I'll just say y is equal to mx plus c, right? Then what is y? I can just take one of the two coordinates. Let's just take this one. We can just say, oh, y is 3 equals to -3/5 into 0 plus c, right? then c is equals to 3, because this multiplied by 0 is going to give us 0. Then that simply tells you, oh, g of x is negative 3 over 5x plus 3. That is my equation. This is my equation, right? Okay, now let's move to the next question. Okay, now we have the next question. It says determine the equation of the function f in the form f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, right? In the general equation or general formula of the quadratic, right? That is how we need to write it. Remember what I said? Let's just go back to the drawing. Remember what I said? If you have two intersects, if you have two x-intersects, equation that you can use is this one. This is the equation that you can use. If you have the turning point, this is the equation that you can use. Right? Then if, or sometimes you can just use this one. Right? Okay, now, now, let's take this one. Why? Because we have two x-intercepts and another what you call other coordinates, which are the intercepts of the graph, right? Or the y-intercept of the graph. Okay, now what I can do, I can just say, oh, y is equals to a into x minus x1 x minus x2, right? This is what I can use. I'm looking for the value of a. What are the coordinates of c? Coordinates of c, y is 3, a into x is 0 minus, okay, when we use the x-intercept of a, it's negative into like that. Then this is still 0 minus the x-intercept of b is 3, right? And then 3 is equals to a into, this will give us 1, because it's going to be 0 plus 1 into, this will give us negative 3, right? Okay, now divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3, therefore the value of a is equals to negative 1, right? Therefore the value of a is equals to negative 1. Is my answer correct? Yes. Why? Simply because it is a set face. It is a set face. Looking at the graph that I have, it is concave down. It is concave down, symbolizing that the value of a is less than 0. Right? I hope you still got the basics that we did from the previous video. Okay, now we have the value of a, right? When we have the value of a, we can just say, oh, y is equals to negative 1 into x minus x1 into x minus x2, right? But I know this. So y is equals to negative 1 into x minus, what is this? This is minus into minus 1. Then this is x minus 3, right? Then this will just give me negative 1 into this and that. It's okay, let me just rewrite this. It's plus 1 x minus 3, right? This will give me minus 1 into this and that. It's gonna be x squared. This and that, it will be x 3 negative 3x. Then this and that positive x. This and that negative 3, right? This will give me negative 1 into this and that is gonna be x squared minus 2x minus 3, right? And then this will give me this, and that is going to be negative x squared negative plus 2x plus 3. This is my equation. That it is my equation. Now let's check the next question. Okay, now you have that equation. It says determine the coordinates of E. Determine the coordinates of E. If you can check, where is my E? Where is my E? Let's take this. Where exactly is my E? The value of E is here. They said E is the point of intersection of the two graphs. Where two graphs meet, just know the equations. For you to can get the coordinates of that point where they meet, you can equate the equations or use what we call simultaneous equation. Use simultaneous equation or equate the equations of the two graphs. This is your G and this is your F, right? Equate G and F. Then you'll get the coordinates of E. Okay, now when we were calculating, we managed to get equation of G. We got the equation of G as is equals to negative 3 over 5 plus 3, right? Negative 3 over 5x plus 3. And then we managed to get the equation of f of x as f of x is equals to negative x squared plus 2x plus 3, right? Now remember, this represents y and this represents y, so it means this I can write it and say negative 3 over 5x plus 3. This is my first equation. And then this one, y is equals to negative x squared plus 2x plus 3, equation 2, right? And then equate equation 1 with 2, right? Equate equation 1 with 2. What is my equation 1? Okay, y is equals to y. Okay, negative 3 over 5 x plus 3. This is equals to negative x squared plus 2x plus 3, right? Then group the like terms. I'm just gonna have x squared minus 2x minus 3 over 5x plus 3 minus 3. This is equals to 0, right? That is equals to 0. This and that will cancel. It's 0. I'm gonna have x squared minus what is 2 minus 3 over 5. It's minus 13 over 5 x equals to 0, because 3 minus 3 is 0, right? What is common here? It's my x. X is common, then I'm gonna have x minus 13 over 5. This is equals to 0. X is equals to 0, or x minus 13 over 5 equals to 0. X is equals to 13 over 5, right? X is equals to 13 over 5. Now x is equals to 13 over 5. I need to check the graph. Can we use x is equals to 0 if this is my point? No, we cannot use that, because you see it is not lying on the x-axis, so x cannot be 0, but x is equals to 13 over 5, right? X is equals to 13 over 5. Okay, then after getting that, I can just say, substitute this on my equation 1. What is my equation 1? Y is equals to negative 3 over 5x plus 3. Then negative 3 over 5 into 13 over 5 plus 3. What is my solution? It's negative 3 over 5 into 13 over 5 plus 3. Then I have 36 over 25 as my x. Therefore, my coordinates, I'm going to have 13 over 5 is 2, 36 over 25. These are the coordinates of E. These are the coordinates of E. Both are positive. That simply tells you, oh, my answers are correct. They are both positive because they are found in the first quadrant where x and y are positive, right? Okay, I'd like to say thank you to you if you were watching until here. Obviously, you were watching because yeah. Thank you very much, and invite your friends to like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you enjoy. And if you have a question, leave it on the comment section. We will deal with it later. Tango.